Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. We're holding in Menachos Daf Nun Ches. We're starting in the bottom of Daf Nun Zayin with base. So we learned when we get to the end of Daf Nun Zayin, the Gemara mentions if someone puts on the mizbeach something which was not supposed to go on the mizbeach, like the meat of any kachim, so it's chayav, there's a lav, and the mizbeach lo yalo. Says the Gemara now. We're starting 7 lines from the bottom. Itma amale mikulum al gabei kevesh. If you put it on the ramp, so Birchano Machaya blows on a pot. It's not like if you have it or not. Birchano Machaya, the time is beach, ainly elam is beach. Kevesh minayin. How do I know ramp as well? Tomulayma ve'elam is beach lo yalo. Elam is beach towards the mizbeach. Towards the mizbeach means the ramp. My time in the Makol, served Vash, Korban Reshis Tekrivu Oisom. Do you mark of them? Also, meaning only these. What is these? These are talking about, as we'll see in a moment, served Vash. We'll see in a moment in the Gemara. Talk about specific things that are in the list over there. That's where it says, the served Vash is. That's pasuk Yudalef, and its pasuk says, so it says Sord Vash, and then it says a mizbech. So you're saying, and it says Oisom. When it says Ela Mizbech, referring to the ram, that's talking only about Sord Vash, but not about other items. Other things you don't have a need to put on the ramp. So you don't have the issue, you don't have the law to put on the ramp. Second one is Yechezkel with Aleph. What is going to do with the Oisom? It's going to exclude other things. Says the Gemara, look at the time for the following. Could it be that a Yochid individual could bring a Nedovo? What are you talking about? We're talking about bringing, we'll see, of the Shtei Lechem. Okay, bring it up. Meaning it's going to be a donation that is a person is obligated to do. Talmud Loimar Korban Rishis Akrivu. Says the Rishis Akrivu that Tzibur has to be makriv the Korban Rishis the Shtei Lechem. Tzibur matechol v'lo yochid. Chol yochid mivi shein or mivi chuyvoso kayotzebo. Maybe an individual could bring it because he cannot bring ever Shtei Lechem. He has no obligation to bring Shtei Lechem. But at Tzibur that does bring the Shtei Lechem as a chayva on Shavuos, maybe they will bring it also as a donation. Talmud Loimar Oisom. Oisom, that's the Oisom. So you have over here a din that is Oisom, we bring it as a chayva, not as an andala. So when we said Oisom refers to the pasuk that says, it says Serud Vash. So it says, the Ser Vidvash, what is Serud Vash referring to? Ser means bread that is chometz. That's what Shtei Lechem. And the Dvash, that's the obligation to bring. What are you talking about? Dvash means like mini misiko, something which is sweet, or honey. Talking about bikurim. Bikurim, you bring dates. Dates produce honey, so you bring that as the bikurim to the mizbech, first fruit that grows on the tree. So it says over there, ubikurim mat vash shtalechem lekorvu, and mailing from here. Sorry. Ubikurim minadvash. So that's the two things he comes to tell you cannot bring this as a donation. Right? Korban Reish the Krivu as a Beit Tzibur, and then it says Oisom. So that's the Oisom. More said, what does the Beit do with Oisom? Tell you the only time you can bring is as obligation, not as an adult. At least the guard Shtei Lechem. Says the Gemara of Shtei Lechem the Korban Adol. Tell me you can't bring Shtei Lechem as a donation. Fatanya, it says in the Brayso, so Im ne'emar kol seor, lama ne'emar kol dvash. Why do you have to bring both examples? The kol seor kol dvash is a krivu. Why it says both? Each one has a unique trait. So there is a concept of bringing a seor in the migdash, which is what? But dvash, you don't bring in the base migdash. Meaning more in the stands, we'll see in a moment on the mizbech. Dvash lo yotor michlol b'migdash. Dvash utar b'shior menachos. You could put on in shior menachos. What's shior menachos? The leftover mincha. You do a mincha. You have a kibitza. The leftover, who eats the leftover? The kohen. How does he eat the leftover? Any way he wants. If he's interested in eating with honey, he can do that. Sar lo tabi shior menachos. Shior menachos can't do sar. Sar means chametz. As we learned in the previous daf, you cannot eat a mincha chametz. That's why you need to say both. To say the seor, to say dvash, each one has a unique trait. So that's why I have to say both. Kol seor, kol dvash. That's what the Gemara says. Says the Gemara now. Right, says, we're going to see in a moment, what are you coming to darsha in each one? Why does it say kol dvash, where it say kol seor? Each one has, it's teaching you, they're coming to teach you even chatzi, as we'll see in a moment, even half. But we say, why you have to say both? Because each one has a unique trait. One of them goes on his back, one is not. One is going to be, one goes on the shiraim, one is not. Okay, so we had a statement. The statement was that seor, we see it going in the mizbech. Which seor goes in the mizbech? Shtei alechem. So when shtei alechem goes in the mizbech, what did we learn earlier? When you bring up shtei alechem and shuas, what goes in the mizbech? Only the kvasim, only the sheep, not the bread. The sheep goes in the mizbech. So what do you mean the two alechem go in the mizbech? Says the Gemara, you see from here, we're talking about a donation. Regular shtei alechem and shuas, they do not come on the mizbech. But shtei alechem that come as a donation do go in the mizbech. You see, you can bring a donation, shtei alechem. That's the inside. Says the Gemara, Hutor michloloi b'migdosh, seor hutor michloloi b'migdosh. The fact you bring chometz in the mizbeach, mind you, what is it? Lav shtei alechem and the korban udava. That's the thing. You bring in the mizbeach. I don't find anything else. No. I'm talking about the kvasim, the sheep. The sheep go to the mizbeach. Hi, the lechem doesn't come with mizbeach. You treat them as one. So you're saying shtei alechem, when it comes to the Beis Hamikdash, there's something of it, not in itself, but whatever is associated with it that goes on the mizbech. So the Gemara, 1 second, what did we just say? That the shtei alechem is different than bikurim, because shtei alechem goes on the mizbech, and bikurim does not go on the mizbech. We explain what does it mean it goes on the mizbech. Not the bread themselves goes on the mizbech. Whatever is associated with the bread goes on the mizbech, which is the sheep. Says the Gemara, oh yachi bikurim nami, so what bikurim? Nan, I go zolos shal gabe hasalim ayu oilois. When they brought the baskets with the fruits of the bikurim, they brought with it birds, chicks. These birds wear what? Korban oilo. And the baskets of the koyanim. So you see, you have an additional item that goes to the mizbech, also a bikurim. So why are you telling me bikurim is different than shtei alechem? They both are the same. They themselves are not going in the mizbech, and what's associated with them goes in the mizbech. This thing was very different. I know that the bikurim would also, but bikurim, the birds, they're not part. It's not like a chayva to bring a bird. It's just to make it nice. You come and add something to the bikurim, but it's not part and parcel. It's not that you have. It's me'ak of the bikurim. It's just to make it beautiful. So there, the fact you're bringing birds doesn't consider the bikurim coming on the mizbech, but shtei alechem come with the shtei kvasim. Someone puts a piece of meat, chicken meat, or oif, and bird meat, on the mizbech now. Well, what's the question? The question is, they're allowed there or not. When do we learn that you can't put in the mizbech something which is not? Because it says, whatever goes in the fire, the leftover, don't put in the mizbech. So the Gemara, kol sheimenu leishim rachman, whatever goes on the fire. So the leftover, don't put in the mizbech. By oif, you don't put it in the mizbech. Because the oif, what do you do with the oif? The chatas oif, you sprinkle the hazah, you do a sprinkling on the side, on the fire. Then you take the bird and you give it to the kohen. So it never goes on the fire. Or you say lemaisa, the name of it is a korban. Even though it doesn't go on the fire, it's called a korban.
Part of the concept that goes on the fire, like not
Yeah.
like there's no
Nothing.
There's no like similar to like a murim.
Not like only by oilo you have the golden
The
mizbeach.
whole thing,
Yeah.
the whole thing gets
By oil soif, chata soif you don't.
There's no part of the, there's no inside.
No, the inside goes to the marov and not so you put in the base addition. You sprinkle the blood and the meat goes to the kohen.
So nothing actually goes on.
Yeah. Says the Gemara, Amulei, Kol Shishmoy Korban, my name is Shmoy Korban. He says, no, it's called the Korban. So you're right. The Lamais doesn't have the fire part, which that's the source, but you learn from the Torah regarding Korban. So with that concept of the Machlokes Tanai, Ketanai. Rabbi Lazar Imer Kol Shemimenu Leishim. I always go, if it goes in the fire, yes or no. If it goes in the fire, send the leftover, you have a Yisr. If it doesn't go in the fire, the leftover does not have a Yisr. Kiva Imer Kol Shishmoy Korban. No, whatever has the name of a Korban. My benai, the that's exactly what we talk about right now. The meat of chatasoif, according to Rabbi Akiva, so he has a Yisr, and according to Rabbi Lazar, not. Rav Omar, Luke, Shemen, Shabbatzoyra, Ikibanav. The chiluk between them is a Luke, Shemen, Metzoyra, because also does not go on the fire, but it has the din of a korban. How do you know it has the din of a korban? Tadi Levi, called korbanon, le'bais Luke, Shemen, Shabbatzoyra. Right? So that's the machlekes. Not the Gabi Chatasoif. Let's say there. Okay. Let's look at what Torah Rabbanon. It says in the pasuk we learned. Now we're going back to the pasuk of Kol Serach Chodvash Sektiru. We said before you have to write both, but what are you learning from there? It says in more Torah Rabbanon story about Tektiru Ainli Ela Kuloi. Okay, sorry means the entire. I mean, if you did a full kmitza, you can't do it on the mizbech. If it's chometz, miktzos minayin. How do I know that even? I mean, the part doesn't have to go on the mizbech. It's a chometz. Miktzos minayin. How do I know the even a portion of it? Tomud loyma kol. Call me even a portion. Eruv minayin. How do I know the seor is mixed up with other things? You know, I'll put on mizbech. It's a chometz. I'll put on the mizbech. Tomud loyma kikol. So Sar, you don't put it in his back because it's chametz. Kol Sar tells you even a portion. Ki Kol comes to tell you even a tayrifis. So my Kolmar. So when it says kuloi mitzotzo, it means kazais. Chatzi zayis b'nayin, I don't know, let's say kazais tobel koil. Iru b'nayin tobel kikor. That's how Abaya learns. Rav is very similar, just one difference. Sorry, but the kiri ain't the koimitz. Like we said before, chetzi koil. I don't have a koimitz. So would lay my koil. So the only difference is when I said koil means, does it mean kazais? And kiko means since so is kazais. Koil means half a kazais, or koil means kmitza, and kikoil and sorry means kmitza. Koil means half a kmitza. Says the one. What?
You already know the other cases also?
No, because it could be a kazais, which is other things, and it's part of a big tarifs. It's not on its own.
I'm saying even if you tell me even a ruba where it's not even recognizable.
But it could be a kazais. It could be a full shear. Says the Gemara. We saw that earlier in the Masechta. By holds the koimitz, the original koimitz can be less than 2 kazesim. So the original is less than 2 kazesim. How much is a half? Less than kazais. So we're saying the Torah is going to tell you even half a kazais. That's what Yechezkel will base. You can put them mizbeach. There's such a thing as a k'torah less than kazais, because a koimitz can be 2, and you can have half of it because we know the kmitza can be split. The gabi michas chavitim, you split the kmitza. So you have less than kazais. So the standard kmitza starts with less than 2 kazaisim, and half of it is less than a kazais. So Torah tells you don't do a full kmitza more than kazais. Don't do half of it less than a kazais. Right? Rav Omar in koyitz bakas b'shtei zaisim tein a Torah pchus b'kazais. Rav says no. the minimum shear is at least 2 zaysim. So half of it is azais. I never say you can do less azais. We never find a k'torah less azais. So the Torah comes to tell you not only the full amount, but also portion. Doesn't mean less azais. It means portion of a kmitza of more than kazais. In other words, Rava doesn't have a source to tell you the less kazais should be a real thing. Abaya holds there is. Says so now we talk about we talk about ser, dvash, mixed up. He had a taruvis of ser and dvash. Now what is the chayav? Amar Rava says Rava like mishum ser, like mishum dvash, like mishum ruvis ser, umishum ruvis dvash. He gets 4 malchus. Ser, dvash, a taruvis of ser, a taruvis of dvash. It's all there. That's a 4 lav. Rava says, yeah. Very good. You don't get lav on lasha bechlolos.
The gear son, I don't know if you have how it goes. He changes it to a baya. Because Rava holds that you don't get like an alash.
Okay. Say look at bechlolos. Yeah, the long taste. Okay. So he says, Ikadami Chadam Yaloki. So some say what a Abai means to say Lash B'chlos means you don't, when you have, what's a Lash B'chlos? When you learn 2 things from one pasuk, that's called Lash B'chlos. Meaning you have one line on 2 different things. So Rashi points out, what is Lash B'chlos? Look at the Rashi at the side, in the narrow lines. Kol sor d'masha minei sor ve'uvi, michel kol dvash v'shtar minei dvash ve'uvi. It's one line. Avi yilav kol mishum, mishum sor dvash v'chtav chabazor, achaz lo mikri lash b'chlos. The lava kol chad me'adim. When it says don't do this and this, it means don't do this and don't do this. That's considered to be 2 lava. When I'm saying one word that teaches you both, kol seor. So seor and kol means 2 different things. So that's called lash b'chlos. So according to this Pshar of Rashi, what does the Abai hold? You get at least 2 malchus. Meaning you get, Rava holds, you get 4. Seor, tvash, taruv, seor, taruv, tvash. Abai says no. Seor and taruv, seor, tvash and taruv, tvash are the same. So you get only 2 malchus. So he gives like 1 for each. Which means 2 malchus. You don't get even 1. All the lavim we learn from lav chasima. That's the source. And because this is not miyucha to be 1 on its own, because you're putting it together with something else, so you don't get any malchus at all.
The similarity is that the lav chasima is not a lav shebechlos.
Yes. So do you learn from lav shebechlos? That means you can't get both. You get only 1, or you don't have lav shebechlos. You get none. So we have over here, according to the Rashi, there's a long tasting over here, but just the Rashi holds that you have over here 4. There's 3 opinions. Rava holds you get 4 malchus. Abai Shita 1 says you get 2 malchus. Abai Shita 2 holds you get 0 malchus. Abai Shita 2. 3 sheets. Right? That's what it is. Very good. Okay, we'll stop over here. I'm going to the tasting yet. I have to go into it, but we'll stop over here and we will continue from here, Be'ez Hashem, tomorrow night. Same time.